Okay, hi. Hi everyone, Donut here. I'm sorry for the lack of scripted content lately. I've been kind of taking it easy from all the violent, crazy nonsense in the world, and I'm also going to do that again tonight. You see, earlier we were filming a Glock video, a Glock review, because no one's ever done a Glock review on YouTube, right? And we were doing something quite disgusting, and I thought, you know what would be even better than vomiting into my mouth right now? It would be to find some more disgusting things on the internet that have to do with police officers. So I would like to welcome you to Gross Shit Police Officers Do on the Internet, Volume 1. I got on my handy dandy Facebook page, the one that I rarely ever touch, and it has like a 10% response rate to your message. I don't like Facebook. I believe that it is going to become a sentient being one day and destroy us all. But it can be useful. That's why I asked the question. Police officers, what's the grossest thing you've ever seen / smelled while on the job that's not totally tragic? So I hope you're not eating. John says hit and run on a pedestrian on the interstate in July during the daytime. Had been out there all day. Doper popped a bag of dope from her butt into her mouth and swallowed it. Had to take her to the hospital for them to give her laxatives. And then I had to dig through her poo to make sure it came out. Oh man, this one's pretty gnarly. Okay, so I said it wasn't gonna be tragic. This one's kind of messed up, but we're gonna get through this together. Fought with a guy who blew half his face off with a 12-gauge shotgun. To be fair, he was only fighting us because he was essentially choking on his face going into his exposed airway while the medics were trying to paralyze him to work on him. That was pretty wild. We found his mustache in a potpourri dish on the other side of the room. Had a hanger hanging for 5 or 6 days in 90+ degrees house. Cut him down, skin split, and thousands of flies came out and attacked us. If that's not bad enough, after we get the body out, we double check the basement and the body fluids dripped through the floor onto my bald head. Had a dead body that had eventually melted into his couch. His head had rotted off and the mostly decomposing skull was sitting in his lap. The dog came running into the front room with part of the guy's leg bone in his mouth. Other than all the gross dead bodies and fatals I've witnessed on duty, when I worked at the jail, a female inmate shoved a hot dog in her lady part and it stayed up there for a week before it came out in the shower. I'd rather deal with rotting dead bodies. Oh, Jesus. An about-to-be deceased man having a heart attack while mowing his lawn on an incredibly hot day threw spaghetti up into my partner's mouth while he was breathing for him. We weren't supposed to give mouth-to-mouth in the first place. To this day, I can't eat spaghetti on hot days. Why would you ever eat spaghetti on a hot day? That's just like, do you sit on your porch when it's like hot and just eat a big heaping bowl of spaghetti? Driving a drunk to the hospital for intox poisoning. We had just gotten new cars with no cage. My partner was riding shotgun. We were blocks from the downtown hospital when Zombie Boy sat up and vomited all over the back of my head and down my face, into my vest, all over my computer, got into my eyes, nose, and such. I almost threw up and nearly crashed, but managed to code 3 to the hospital and clean it up. Oh, a dead body about a month old. My partner thought she was wearing green pants. She wasn't wearing pants. This is actually a good tip for upcoming police officers. I forgot about this. 1 week dead alcoholic split open and fused with his couch. You're gonna see that. Lots of Vicks used on that call. Vicks Vapor Rub. You rub some of it under your nose. Sometimes you won't smell the guy fused with his couch. Convertible sports car with 2 occupants passing under a semi-trailer at 40 miles an hour is one of the messiest gross ones. Oh, they're talking about Arnie. I'm not a police officer. I'm a retired after 32 years in fire EMS. Responded for chest pains to a dumpy trailer park. Lady was easily 400 pounds. Huge tits. We, of course, had to place her in a 12-lead EKG per protocol, so this required lifting up her breast to place the electrodes. When I lifted up her left breast, there was a smashed, moldy half of a grilled cheese sandwich. Had obviously been there for some time. She, of course, said, I was wondering where that went. Turns out it was there for over 2 weeks. This is why I can't eat grilled cheeses anymore. Oh, what if she took it? I took a bite out of it. I farted into the seat of my patrol car unit on a hot summer day. Shut and locked the door to go inside the office, walked back out and sat down in my patrol unit, was met with a mushroom cloud of sweat and ass. When I got called to do a search on a female, she was a prostitute and hadn't showered in weeks, so let's just say when I searched her waistband, I almost vomited. It smelled like she had a skunk up her vajayjay that had been dead for a week on hot asphalt in 100-degree weather. Oh, and people pay for that. Had a patient OD on fentanyl while taking colonoscopy medicine and then decided to fight us. Nothing like a good old poo fight. Went into a house where a guy let his animals defecate on the floor for what I assume was in his entire life, as the floor had become a sponge-like material that you sunk into like snow, leaving footprints where you walked, and it would return to normal after a few minutes. I burned everything. Not the grossest thing, but pretty funny. Adult male during a welfare check, fully functional plumbing, cat box in front of the toilet, human feces in it. I confront him with it. He denies it at first, but eventually admits he had been using the cat box instead of the toilet. Still makes me laugh to this day. Fucking furries. Suicide where he shot himself in the head and his 2 pugs dined on him. No running water, so the toilets were overflowing with feces. No heat, so he had a large radiant heater, turned him into human jerky. Dogs didn't use their doggy door, but were considerate enough to use the kitchen as their toilet. Google pugs eat owner. I'm not Googling that. Fat guy decomposed in a travel something during the summer. He was the texture of mashed potatoes covered in maggots, and the liquids in him had already been seeping through the cheap floor and dripping to the bare ground below. Ever been in a hoarder's house where the power's been out for weeks in the summer and you notice the walls are moving? Yeah, couldn't get me off that call fast enough. I've been to those. Did SW on a brothel. Apparently they were afraid of throwing used condoms in trash where they could be found as evidence of sex, so they were storing them in coolers. Guy goes in the basement and can't figure out what all these colors are for and decided to open one. Holy crap, it was bad. Must have been stewing in those coolers for months. If you're gonna get into policing, as you can see, like every other story on here is a melted dead person. So be ready for that. Smell we'll never forget is the repeated homeless / drunk, but wasn't seen for months, assumed for dead. Pops back up. When we get to booking and we start smelling a dead smell, come to realize that he hadn't changed his socks during the winter, and I guessed he had something similar to trench foot. One pair of his socks had to be soaked and scrubbed just to remove it from his foot. Correctional officer here, mental OBS / IM, had stored his feces and urine in milk containers for weeks under his bunk. He goes off his meds and goes bananas, threatening to kill himself with a sharpened piece of metal, use of force, wrestle him to the cell, knock his collection over during the scuffle. Corpse who died in January with the heaters on, found in August with said heaters still on. But the gross part was he lived with 6 cats, which turned into 16 plus cats, who were all well fed and warm. Oh, this is gross. I never realized this. Not a police officer, I'm a rescue diver, but when you're recovering a dead body that's been in the water for a long time, you can taste the decay in your regulator. Then if you have to throw up, you have to throw up in your regulator because you naturally gasp for air afterwards, so you get to breathe through human decay and vomit. LOL. Well everyone, Donut here. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can't say I didn't warn you at the first of it. As soon as this video is released, I'm going to be over at twitch.tv/donutoperator. Do me a favor while you're here. Go over to my second channel, Donut Operator 2, and hit that subscribe button. I've been having fun with it, and it just feels good to make videos that aren't about, you know, stuff like we talked about in this video. Everyone, this is Donut. Please have a fantastic day.